PD says they have a plan to tackle gang violence in Metro Louisville, a plan that requires more funding. But one Metro Council member had questions, suggesting the department needs to focus on undercover detectives instead. Interim Police Chief Jackie Gwen Villarreal said that's part of their response, but a new element is focused on outreach in schools to discourage kids from joining gangs. Reporter Travis Breeze is here in the studio with us now on more on the two-pronged approach. Travis?
Yes, Shay, it's a lot going on, to be honest. The department has 292 vacancies that is obviously a part of fixing the gang issue and violent crime. And council members had a chance to question LMPD on a lot of different aspects of their budget and how it will apply to the fight against gangs. One thing that the interim chief said they're focusing more on now is having early outreach to kids age 8 to 14.
I was so happy when the mayor did in his administration admit to us having a gang issue.
Metro Council member Tammy Hawkins was one of the many questioning Chief Villarreal Thursday night about which parts of LMPD's $222 million budget will go towards fighting gang violence.
I'm talking about putting in the budget plainclothes officers.
The chief's response was that they already have undercover detectives doing, quote, robust work on gangs. Where they're turning now is more outreach to young kids. The department asked for $45,000 to expand the gang resistance education and training program, which encourages kids age 8 to 14 to stay away from gangs.
Those young, impressionable minds at a young age and see whether or not we can be very impactful.
In a similar vein, the city wants to give the Police Activities League $25,000 more. Director Rick Poland says this will allow them to add more classes. He also said when kids have a relationship with police, they give crime tips.
We have data that can show the impact it's having on cases being closed.
Being on Metro Council for just a few months, Hawkins was unfamiliar with the PAL League. She says her focus is on more cameras in high crime areas and undercover detectives.
We have to come together and come up with different solutions to save our youth and to save our city.
$1 million. Using security cameras to make up for the shortage of officers was also discussed last night. LMPD said they have made 2 payments to a new system that will centralize all the security cameras in the city into one place. The city could not comment today on how much money has been paid to that system so far. In the studio, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
All right, Travis, thank you very much. Now let's take a closer look at some of the other items discussed between LMPD and Metro Council last night. Out of the $222 million budget for the police department, $1 million is going to recruiting efforts. Right now, LMPD is short almost 300 officers. The chief says the department has been recruiting aggressively, but they need more money to fund new marketing strategies.
We need someone that actually has that skill set in actually targeting groups all over our city.
LMPD officials said some of their equipment's outdated and needs to be replaced. Around $1.5 million is earmarked in the proposed budget just for that. They say LMPD's 2 helicopters are on their last legs. The petition to keep Gavin Perkins, the man charged with killing his own mother, in the custody of a mental facility has been denied. Gavin Perkins has been held at Central State Hospital since family members say he shot and killed his own mother, Ruth Perkins, in 2018. Because of Gavin's mental state, he was found incompetent to stand trial twice, and the criminal case was dismissed. Families say they were notified he will be released from the hospital this weekend because the prosecutor said they had no way to hold him. According to the statement by the Perkins family, the petition filed by the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has been turned down by doctors. They say this will allow Gavin to be released this weekend. We're very fearful for ourselves and for the general public. They say the next step is for the Commonwealth's Attorney or the Governor's Office to ask the Attorney General to step up and get involved here. We're keeping a close eye on this story, and we'll bring you updates as soon as we get them. The Justice Department has unsealed the federal indictment against former President Donald Trump, outlining the government's case and the criminal counts Trump now faces. That development comes as sources tell ABC News a Trump aide is also facing a federal indictment in the Mar-a-Lago documents investigation. ABC's Justin Finch has details from Washington.
The Justice Department laying out its argument against former President Donald Trump and his aide Walt Nauta in a 49-page indictment.
And I invite everyone to read it in full to understand the scope and the gravity of the crimes charged.
The charges, 37 criminal counts in total, including 31 counts of willful retention of national defense information, 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice, and 1 count of scheme to conceal. The indictment stems from the grand jury probe into Trump's alleged mishandling of classified documents and efforts to hamper their return to the government in accordance with the law. The unsealed indictment includes images of places where Trump kept classified documents, including a bathroom and bedrooms. The dispute resulting in an FBI search of Trump's Mar-a-Lago home last year.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
In New Jersey, the first new images of the former president seen golfing at his private club hours after his federal indictment in the special counsel records investigation. And on his social media platform, Trump defending his aide, Walt Nauta, who is also being indicted. Trump accusing the Justice Department of trying to destroy Nauta's life and also insisting he's done nothing wrong.
I'm innocent, and we will prove that very, very soundly and hopefully very quickly.
Trump has been ordered to appear for arraignment Tuesday in a Miami federal court, where Trump-appointed District Judge Eileen Cannon is assigned to preside, at least for now. The former president also announcing on social media that his defense lawyers, Jim Trusty and John Raleigh, are exiting his legal team. In a statement, the attorneys calling this a logical moment for us to step aside. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
And to be clear, this indictment is different than when Donald Trump was indicted by a Manhattan grand jury back in March. In that case, Trump was indicted on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records related to 6-figure payments to porn star Stormy Daniels. Trump pleaded not guilty to those charges. His lawyers said they intend to file a motion seeking to dismiss the case before it can go to trial. The next hearing in that case is set for December 2023, with a tentative trial date in January of 2024. But high-profile court cases often have multiple continuations and delays, so it's unclear when Trump will stand trial in that case. For days now, millions of Americans have been dealing with toxic air, the massive smoke plume affecting nearly half of the country at its peak, but many of us are already starting to see some relief. In Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the air quality index hit 491 on the 1 to 500 scale, even worse than New York City's 484 on Wednesday. Schools in New York and Philadelphia both switched to remote learning in response to the smoke. Parents were encouraged to watch for signs of shortness of breath, chest pain, and wheezing, and everyone was urged to stay indoors or mask up.
This is our old friend, one you never want to see again perhaps, but this mask can make a difference.
The good news is conditions are slowly starting to improve, with winds shifting some smoke out of the area back up north into Canada. And as we give you a live look outside here at home, you can see certainly still some haze in the air, but Christina, a much better situation today than even the past few days.
Yeah, significant improvement out there, Shay, not just here, but really regional here as we're taking a look at the current air quality out there at this time yesterday. As you just mentioned, many folks actually were sitting in that hazardous category, but take a look up to our northeast and you're seeing all of that green, some significant improvements really across this entire area. Meanwhile, here in Kentucky, we are still in the moderate category, albeit it is not as thick as what the last couple of days have been. However, we do have the air quality alert still in effect until midnight tonight for areas around the metro and surrounding southern Indiana, again, until midnight tonight. So if you are in that sensitive category, you'll want to make sure to limit your time outdoors. Temperatures outside right now, we're hovering right around 80 degrees, really for everybody. 78 for you folks around Carrollton, 81 in Springfield, looking like one of the warmest spots across the area. Litchfield also clocking in the lower 80s. Meanwhile, here in the city, we are at 80 degrees right on the nose. We are going to be warming up a little bit, though, for at least the first half of our weekend, making it to the mid 80s for our Saturday, and that's certainly my pick of the weekend. You can just tell by this graphic why, because we're going to have that sunshine and middle 80s for the beginning of the weekend, but by Sunday, we're going to be tracking some widespread showers and a few thunderstorms. I'll time that out hour by hour on Futurecast past in less than 10 minutes. Shay.
All right, Christina, thank you. Some promising news for the Triple Crown finale, the Belmont Stakes this weekend. Racing resumed in New York today following that significant improvement in air quality throughout the area. This comes after a 2-day pause on racing there. And the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission has released the necropsy for a 4th horse that died at Churchill Downs. The report was released for Chloe's Dream. The horse raced on May 6, Derby Day. Chloe's Dream suffered a leg injury during the race and had to be euthanized because of the injury. According to the necropsy, there was no pre-race injuries or drugs detected. The vet concluded it was a lightly raced horse that had no red flags, which increased the chance of an injury. All week, our focus team has been looking into the tragedies at the track, diving into what might be causing the horse deaths. And tonight on WHAS11 News at 6, we're sharing what's in store for Churchill Downs and horse racing at the historic track. We have an update for drivers in southern Indiana. We're told a hole on the Blackiston Mill Road Bridge has now been fixed. This is what it looked like earlier this afternoon. The bridge goes over Silver Creek, connecting Clarksville to New Albany. Clarksville town leaders tell us the bridge is maintained by the Floyd County Highway Department, and we're told within the last 30 minutes it is no longer an issue. Drivers can safely travel on that bridge. As for those of you in East End, we do have an update on the construction on I-64 westbound. It has been 1 week since it first started. Crews have been working to repave the 6-mile stretch, even digging up the 19 inches of Cochrane Hill Tunnel. We do have some video here from our Sky 11 drone. We took this just a few hours ago. You can see there the new pavement and workers clearing out for the day. We reached out to KYTC. They said the project's on schedule. They are still expected to start on the eastbound lanes coming up on June 16th.